5 leadership lessons from Elijah at Mount Carmel. During this time, there was a 3-year drought in progress and also a famine. 1 Kings 18. And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elisha in the 3rd year, saying, Go, show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth. 1 Kings 18:41. Then Elisha said to King Ahab, Now go and eat. I hear the roar of rain approaching. Elisha climbed to the top of Carmel, bent down to the ground, and put his face between his knees. 1 Kings 18:43. Go and look towards the sea, he told his servant. And the servant went up, and he looked. There's nothing there, he said. Go back, Elisha told him. And the servant went back once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. There is nothing there. Go back 6 times, 7 times. 1 Kings 18:44. The 7th time the servant reported, A cloud as small as a man's hand is rising from the sea. So Elisha said, Go and tell Ahab, hitch up your chariot and go down before the rain stops you. 1 Kings 18:45. Meanwhile, the sky grew black with clouds. The wind rose. A heavy rain started falling, ending the 3-year drought. Seeing the cloud, you know what's interesting is that Elijah kept talking about rain, but all the servant could see was a tiny little cloud. And I believe that this cloud sighting was actually internal and not external. So if you read the scripture, you may have the picture of the servant at the edge of the cliff watching this little cloud float right in front of him. But that's not accurate. This is a more accurate depiction, because if we look at the geography of Mount Carmel, we realize that it is 32,000 feet away from the Mediterranean Sea. Meaning this servant saw this cloud as small as a man's hand, 6 miles away. To put it in another perspective, if there's a man on the ground watching an airplane fly above him at 32,000 feet, do you think he'll be able to see the pilot's hand flying the airplane? No. Now, God can grant people supernatural powers like he does in Elisha later on in this chapter, right? Where Elisha is able to outrun Ahab all the way to Jezreel. That's 20 miles outpacing a chariot. So God can do that. But in this particular scripture, it's not noted that the servant had supernatural seeing ability. So what is the origin of this vision? Impartation. To borrow David Digas Hernandez's definition of impartation, it is the spiritual transfer that takes place through relationship. When I open myself up to the teachings of an anointed individual, I become a recipient of a portion of what's on their life. So this is the transfer that took place right here through this relationship. 5 leadership lessons. A leader prepares. We saw Elijah get close to get clear. He got close to God and he got closed off to the world because the mission is messy. If you read all of chapter 18, you'll see how messy things got for Elisha. He also got close to get discernment, to understand the difference between signs versus the assignment. A leader shares his vision. Communicate a clear vision, but please understand that others may not see your vision even though you communicate it super clear. Because we saw that Elisha was seeing rain, communicating rain, but his servant only saw a tiny little cloud. And the transfer of a vision requires relationship and repetition, which means an investment in time. A leader as a mentor. You know, a mentor stands in this sacred space between the mentee's potential and their past, between what the mentee knew and what is new. Between their valley and their vision is exactly where you're standing. And in that position, you're able to mold the mindset. And an altered mindset can then accept your vision. Your mentee. You know, transfer requires trust. Your mentee has to be able to trust you. They will face doubt And they will need to borrow from you until they believe. Borrow what? Hope, faith. Borrow your style of thinking. And they will need to learn persistence. Are you creating the environment for them to trust you? For them to borrow from you? For them to learn persistence? Because your leadership is going to be tested in your absence. So when they are alone, the mentee is going to have to implement these things without you. And what is the result of impartation? It leads to acceleration and changes. We saw the change in the atmosphere, right? The rain. And we saw the change of pace and the change in places. From Mount Carmel, things got moved to now Jezreel. And we saw changes in people, where the servant gained confidence, and also he gained some authority, and he was able to tell a king what to do next. To my mentors, I hope you enjoyed the video. May God continuously renew your mind, courage, and strength. His wisdom and peace are with you. With utmost gratitude, Carol.